Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastvesya Vadesu Nityam Bhagavat Sevayam Bhagavati Uttamastoke Bhaktir Bhavati Naisike. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 16, with how Parikshit received age of Kali, text 22 and 33. But the Sanskrit is in prose, and it's quite long, so it's here. That it's not prose, it's verse, but it's quite long. I can read it, try to read it. Pramadayo poititam yatapangramoksha Kammastapa chamacharan bhagavat papana Sashriva vasam aravindavanam vihaya Yatpada bhagamalam bhajate narakta Tasyahamabhya kulisankusaketuketai Shrimat pader bhagavata samalan kitangi Kin atyocha upalabhya tato vibhutim Lokan samam vyashrichat utsmayatim tadante. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Lakshmiji, the goddess of fortune, whose glance was sought by the demigods like Brahma, and for whom they surrendered many a day unto the personality of Godhead, gave up her own abode in the forest of lotus flowers and engaged herself in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. I was endowed with specific powers to supersede the fortune of all the three planetary systems by being decorated with the impressions of the flag, thunderbolt, elephant driving rod, and lotus flower, which are signs of the lotus feet of the Lord. But at the end, when I felt I was fortunate, the Lord left me. So this is the earth speaking in the form of a cow. How she expresses how ecstatic she felt and happy when Krishna was on the planet. But then he left. It addresses also the goddess of fortune, because when Krishna was here, also the goddess of fortune was on the earth. Therefore, the earth had everything in abundance. Now, the purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The beauty and opulence of the world can be enhanced by the grace of the Lord and not by any man-made planning. When the Lord Sri Krishna was present on this earth, the impressions of the special signs of his lotus feet were stamped on the dust, and as a result of this specific grace, the whole earth was made as perfect as possible. In other words, the rivers, the seas, the forests, the hills, and the mines, which are the supplying agents for the necessities of man and animals, were fully discharging their respective duties. Therefore, the riches of the world surpassed all the riches of all other planets in the three planetary systems of the universe. One should therefore ask that the grace of the Lord always be present on earth, so that we may be favored with his causeless mercy, and be happy, having all necessities of life in abundance. One may ask how we can detain the Supreme Lord on this earth after his mission is fulfilled and he has left this earth for his own abode. The answer is that there is no need to detain the Lord. The Lord, being omnipresent, can be present with us if we want him at all. By his omnipresence, he can always be with us if we are attached to his devotional service by hearing, chanting, and remembering. There is nothing in the world from which the Lord is disconnected. The only thing we must learn is to excavate the source of connection and thus be linked with him by offenseless service. We can be connected with him by the transcendental sound representation of the Lord. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord himself are identical, and one who chants the holy name of the Lord is in an offensive matter can at once realize that the Lord is present before him. Even by the vibration of radio sound, we can partially realize the presence of what is related to the sound. And by resounding the sound of transcendence, we can verily feel the presence of the Lord. In this age, when everything is polluted by the contamination of Kali, it is instructed in the scriptures and preached by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can at once be freed from contamination, gradually rise to the status of transcendence and go back home, back to Godhead. The offensive chanters of the holy name of the Lord are auspicious as the Lord himself, and the movement of such pure devotees of the Lord all over the world can at once change the troublesome face of the world. Only by the propagation of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord can we be immune from all effects of the age of Kali. I read the verse again. Lakshmiji, the goddess of fortune, whose glance of grace was sought by the demigods like Brahma, and for whom they surrendered many a day unto the personality of Godhead, gave up her own abode in the forest of lotus flowers and engaged herself in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. I was endowed with specific powers to supersede the fortune of all the three planetary systems by being decorated with the impressions of the flag, thunderbolt, elephant driving god, and lotus flower, which are signs of the lotus feet of the Lord. But at the end, when I felt so fortunate, the Lord left me. Om Mahyan Atimandasya Chinanjana Snaka Shakshvanmetam Yena Tasmai Shirave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutani Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Kinamini Namaste Saraswata Deve Gaurabani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavati Paskachai Dasatarini Srila Prabhupada Ki. So here it's described how everything is personal. The earth is an individual, is personal, and she experiences or remembers the time when Krishna was present. She has taken here the form of a cow, and Dharma or religion has taken the form of a bull. And Lakshmi, here the earth says yes that she felt very fortunate when Krishna was there, because Krishna was there and Lakshmi was there. Wherever Krishna is Lakshmi. And she felt very, very fortunate, and she produced all necessities of life in abundance. That So Lakshmi is worshipping Krishna. It is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There, Lord Chaitanya is traveling in South India. And at a certain moment, he comes in Srirangam. And during the Chaturmasya, the 4 months of the rainy season, he was staying with Venkata Brahma, Venkata Bhatta, first-class Brahman. He stayed for 4 months in his home. And Venkata Bhatta Goswami, he had a son, Gopal Bhatta, who will become later Gopal Bhatta Goswami. That when Lord Chaitanya was there 4 months, he was playing with the young boy Gopal Bhatta. But then one day Lord Chaitanya asked Gopal Bhatta, because they are followers of the Sri Sampradaya, Ramanuja, and they were worshipping Lakshmi Narayan. And Lord Chaitanya said to Venkata Bhatta, your Lakshmi is so chaste, but why did she give up the worship of Narayan to worship Krishna? Venkata Bhatta said yes, that well, Venkata Bhatta said Lakshmi worshipped Krishna because she knew Krishna and Narayan are the same. Then Lord Chaitanya said, that's okay, but why could she not reach Vrindavan? She wanted to worship Krishna, but she could not reach Vrindavan. Then Venkata Bhatta said, I have no adhikar to find that out. I cannot speak about that. But Lord Chaitanya gave the answer, and I said, because she could not give up her attachment to worship the Lord in opulence. She was attached to worship the Lord in opulence. And worship of Krishna is very different than Vaikuntha worship. But we see here that we are here in a dialogue which will continue in the next verses between the deity of the earth, which has taken the form of a cow, and Dharma, a bull. And both are aggrieved because of the situation of the earth. We know, the situation of the earth, that when Krishna was there, everything was flourishing like described in this verse, and she felt ecstatic, but then Krishna left. And then Kali Yuga started, all these sinful activities. So she was aggrieved of the situation. Because the earth is like a mother. A mother nourishes everything. This body is made of food which comes from the earth. So the earth is nourishing everyone. It's like a mother. There are 7 mothers. Some of them are the biological mother. That's one. And the earth, the cow is also a mother. Then the wife of the guru is a mother, the wife of the king, and the wife of the Brahmins. They are all mothers. So Mother Earth is aggrieved. She's nourishing us, and she gives birth to all living entities and nourishes us. that sometimes we claim proprietorship, but the fact is Mother Earth provides everything. So therefore, devotees many times, they get up in the morning. First thing they do, they remember Krishna, then they pray to the spiritual master, and we are praying also to Prabhupada. And then when they come out of bed and they put their feet on the earth, they ask forgiveness from the earth, because the feet is the most dirty part of the body, and we put it on the earth. So we ask forgiveness. So that is Vedic culture. The feet is dirty. So we remember the earth is giving us everything. Like mother cow gives us milk. It nourishes us like the earth. The biological mother gives milk to us for a few years, but the cow gives milk lifelong. So there are principles of religions also, and they represent Dharma. Dharma took the form of a bull. So this true religion protects us. And also, Bhishmadev tells that to Yudhishthira Maharaj. He says, as long as you are following the religious principles and instructions of the Brahmins, you will be protected by the same religious principles. In that, so true religion protects us when we follow true Dharma. So by following the principles of religions, we become protected. So Dharma is a word with deep meanings. We will not go into that. But what are these principles of religion? You have the basic principles, or the primary, and you have the higher principles of religion. So the basic principles of religion is 4 principles: Daya, mercy; tapasya, austerity; shaucham, cleanliness; and tapas, austerity. These are basic principles. If we follow these principles, then we will not be attacked by lust so much. That we will become peaceful. Only when you break these principles, you come full under the grip of Maya. But when you follow these principles, you are protected by these principles. And you may be in illusion, but you will be saved from dragging down to the mode of ignorance. That passion and ignorance will less be powerful, will not so much affect you. So that's the first step to be peaceful, but then you must follow the higher principles. And that is the Dharma, the highest Dharma. And that's, of course, described in the Bhagavatam as Savaipum Saparo Dharmo Yato Bhaktiya Dokshya Ahait Kapatiyata Yatma Supashidati. The highest Dharma is pure devotional service, acting out of love for the Supreme Lord. And one must do that always and never interrupt it. So that is the practice of the highest Dharma. And the bull represents Dharma. Like the earth maintains us, also the bull maintains us by tilling the fields, plowing. From this we get grains, thus the bull maintains us also. That, so Mother Earth says, yes, the burden of the earth is too much to bear. That, and therefore, before Krishna's appearance, she went to Brahma to complain that all these sinful kings who did not follow the basic principles of Dharma, the lower principles, that they were trying to exploit her. And Krishna appeared to relieve her from anxiety. And that is, and she remembered that moment when this 120 years that Krishna was there, how blissful she felt. But there we will see in the next verses that the cow is unhappy because Krishna left and Kali Yuga started, and the bull is unhappy. Is a bull standing only on one leg. He lost 3 legs. He represents Dharma. He represents tapas, saucham, that doya, mercy, that and truthfulness, satya. But he lost 3 legs. Only satyam, to a certain extent, truthfulness is left. That so yes, religion is based on these 4 main principles. But pure devotional service is the highest dharma. If we break the 4 related principles, if we break these lower principles of religion, we cannot practice the highest dharma. Because it diminishes our determination, our enthusiasm for devotional service. That so, because Krishna says, yeah, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya sadushkaram, I appear to protect the devotees and to kill those miscreants, those who are breaking these 4 regulative principles. That, So today the world has weapons of mass destruction. That, but Maya has weapons of mass detraction. It detracts us. That it deviates us from our purpose of life. It deviates us and brings us to thinking that sense gratification is the goal of life. Because the demoniac civilization, what is the foundation? Foundation is sense gratification. That, so this is what will follow in the next verses, this discussion. That can also read the next verse and then go back. Yo vai matate bhamasauravam sarakhyam aksahini satam apanadattatma tantra. You can try the Brahma Samhita. Yavai mama tibarama saravam sarakhyam. That's better. Aksahini satamapanu dadatma tantra. Tvam dustamuna padamatmani parusena Sambhadyam yadusaram yatabirat angam. The personality of religion. O personality of religion, I was greatly overburdened by the undue military phalanxes arranged by atheistic kings, and I was relieved by the grace of the personality of God that similarly you were also in a distressed condition, weakened in your standing strength, and thus he also incarnated by his eternal energy in the family of the Yadus to relieve you. So it's the cow speaking to the bull, the earth is speaking to religion personified, the purport. The Asuras want to enjoy a life of sense gratification even at the cost of others and of others' happiness. In order to fulfill this ambition, the Asuras, especially atheistic kings or state executive heads, try to equip themselves with all kinds of deadly weapons to bring about a war in a peaceful society. They have no ambition other than personal aggrandizement, and thus Mother Earth feels overburdened by such undue increases of military strength. By the increase of the Asuric population, religious principles are hampered, with the result that all the people of the world, especially the devotees or devas, become unhappy to see the anomalies of the Asuric civilization of self-aggrandizement. In such a situation, the personality of Godhead incarnates to vanquish the unwanted asuras and to re-establish the true principles of religion. That this was the mission of Lord Sri Krishna, and he fulfilled it. So this is description of Lord Krishna's mission, that he comes to rectify the situation and re-establish the principles of religion. The lower principles that which are represented by the Varnashram Dharma. That Varnashram Dharma is a social system of cooperation in which everyone follows these 4 regulative principles, that and they cooperate, and by that they come to goodness. That because they are acting out of duty to cooperate, not for their own sense gratification, and they follow this principle, 4 relative principles, then they become saved from the greatest suffering, and they become peaceful. And then in their ashram, brahmachari, grihastha, vanapasa sannyas, each in his ashram has spiritual sadhana to make spiritual advancement. So that's a society. It was peaceful. Today's society is geared towards sense gratification, is based on greed. Of course, greed, lust, and anger, these are all going together, sense gratification. And it's very difficult to practice devotional life in such a society as today. Therefore, devotees must come together, live together, practice devotional life together. That together we are strong. That because Maya distracts us towards sense gratification. And it's everywhere in the atmosphere. But if one chants the holy name in our temples, in association of devotees who are determined, then our concentration of the holy name, our sadhana will be much better. That it are safe heavens or that for practicing spiritual life. So association of devotees is very important, especially in this age, that because the earth says, yeah, I'm in a distressed condition, and everyone is in a distressed condition in this world. That and the allurements for sense gratification are so strong that but by following these regulative principles in association of devotees, then we can make spiritual advancement. That to practice this alone is very difficult. That so this is the cow and the bull having this conversation, and of course, then at the end there will be Kali and Archbrexit who will appear. That Kali who represents gold and prostitution. That and that's everywhere in Kali Yuga. That these are the weapons of Kali to make sure everyone breaks these religious principles. And when Prabhupada arrived on the Yaladutta, he was thinking, how will I be able to convince them in this country? Their business is to break the regulative principles, all the principles of religion. That's how will they take to Krishna consciousness? That, but by Prabhupada's power, and he approached those who are ready to receive this knowledge. Those who wanted already to give up this materialistic life, this American way of life, that, and they were the hippies, that they didn't want to follow in the footsteps of their parents. They saw this materialism only lead to, is only leading to an unsatisfied, unhappy life. But they didn't have an alternative. The alternative was drugs and so on. But that didn't work. But Prabhupada gave him the real alternative, that taking to Krishna consciousness. That and they were ready for that. And also we have to see in our hearts, are we ready to accept Krishna consciousness? Or do we have still plans in this world? That, but by hearing the Bhagavatam every day, with attention, we give up these plans. But to hear with attention, you must follow the four related principles. Otherwise, your mind is deviated to material sense gratification, and you cannot concentrate on the hearing of transcendental knowledge. Therefore, it's one of the characteristics of a good hearer of the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that one can give attention. And to give attention, Prabhupada says, one must follow these principles of religion, not breaking the four related principles, that chant the holy name, that and be celibate. That celibate means follow the four related principles. That brahmachari. So the Grihastha is also brahmachari. Grihastha brahmachari, Prabhupada used to say. That so that is required. Then one can hear with attention. And then we can really, by hearing the Bhagavatam, give up our materialistic mentality of I, mine, and become humble. Humble, tolerant, and giving up all our interest to achieve something in this world, just interest in serving Krishna, birth after birth. And that's the right disposition to be successful in spiritual life. And that can be achieved by hearing the Bhagavatam with great attention. So today, what do we leave here from the earth? That, if we are not connected with Krishna, we will feel unhappy. If we feel depressed, unhappy, unsatisfied, means we are disconnected from Krishna. That means we make that connection by devotional service, and that devotional service can only be successful if we follow the basic principles of religion. Because then no new contamination of lust, anger, greed comes into our heart, and we can remove the contamination of our heart by hearing the Bhagavatam, by chanting Krishna's names. So that is what I could say on these verses. Any questions, comments, please?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you very much for the nice class, Maharaj. So Maharaj, somebody can question then what is the need of chanting if they can just follow the dharma, then they can go forward in the path of devotion. So why we need to do chanting?
Yeah. So why do we need to chant? Why do we hear the Bhagavatam? Because these are the higher principles of religion. Higher principle of religion is developing love for Krishna, bhakti. The lower principles of religion can bring us to the point of liberation, the first stage. But that's just the first stage. That's the beginning of spiritual life liberation, Nishta. Then you have to realize, to come to Ashakti, Paramatma realization, and then Bhagavatam realization. But it's just, these principles are the lower principles, which makes us a bona fide candidate for beginning spiritual life. And the spiritual life is bhakti, developing love for Krishna. We develop love for Krishna by chanting and by hearing Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So that's the point here. But Prabhupada saw that many of his disciples, American disciples, would not make it in this lifetime, because they struggled even with these basic principles and could not follow the process of bhakti with determination. Therefore, he wanted Varnashram to develop. At least then they would be safe for next life and continue. So that was Prabhupada's vision. Because yes, it's difficult to practice devotional life if you are not peaceful, always in distress and so on. And you can, and when you are under the control of Maya, and Maya misuses your intelligence for sense gratification, and you become addicted to this and that. It's without end, these addictions. And you go in a whirlpool and you cannot get out. Therefore, following these four related principles is the principles of Dharma so important that anyway, anything else? Good. So next week I'm traveling on Monday and Wednesday. We can have the class on Tuesday, if that's okay.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, good.
We'll have Srimad Bhagavatam class Tuesday.
Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam class, yeah. Jai Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
His on his Bhakti Prabhav Maharaj ki jai.